Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev, Nitagor Haribo, 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 Guru Haribo. Jai Nitai Guru Pramanandi Haribo. So, welcome to today's Bhakti Sastri class. We are in chapter 5, verse number 13. We have passed 2 sessions. The first session was Karma Yoga is equal to Karma Sannyas, but better than Karma Sannyas. That means work in devotion is the same as renunciation, but work in devotion is better than renunciation. That was the first session. Then the second session was from verse 7 to 12, which is how to do Niskama Kama Yoga, how to perform Bhagavad Arpita Niskama Kama Yoga. Now, this third session is only 3 verses, but it is very philosophical session, verses 13 to 15, 13, 14, 15. And it's technically called Vaishnava etiology. Vaishnava etiology. Etiology means the science of causation. Who is the cause? What is the cause? What is the cause of this world? What is the cause of sinful reactions? Who is the cause? Etiology. But different philosophers have their own approach, addressing only one aspect of the whole thing. But the Vaishnavas, they address the whole thing in totality. So the Vaishnava etiology, it is all encompassing, it is complete, because it explains everything and brings out the conclusion. So Vaishnava etiology, this is also synonymous to Sambandha Gyan. You know, at the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, during the introduction, we talked about the 5 subject matters of the Bhagavad Gita as Iswara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, and Karma. So here, in this Vaishnava etiology, this section of the chapter 5, I mean, text 13 to 15, 3 of these persons are discussed. Iswara, the Supreme Controller, the Jiva, and Prakriti, and their relationship as to who is the cause. You understand the thing? Who is the cause? Is the living entity the cause of his situation? Or is it the Lord? Or is it material nature? So this is the approach, the Vaishnava etiology. Anyway, in our last session, or last class specifically, the last verse was talking about, it was like a summary of that whole session, and it was talking about attachment and detachment and the consequences. When one works as a yoga yukta is he who understands that everything belongs to Krishna, And therefore, a Yoga Yukta is a Vijitatma, this Visuddhatma, Vijitatma, and Jitendriya, that a Yoga Yukta's intelligence is purified, his mind is purified, and his senses are also purified. And therefore, because he is in no competition with any living entity, nobody take him as an enemy. He's a friend to all living entity, and every living entity is friendly to him. Because it's competition in the material world that makes people to become enemies. Enmity and friendship is created because of competition in the material world. I want this person has gotten it. Why has he not gotten it? Why not me? But a Yoga Yukta is not into sense gratification, so he withdraws. Just like we are devoted Vaishnavas are not meat-eaters, for instance. So in a ceremony where they are going to kill a cow and be struggling for the different parts of the cow, some stealing some parts, some scheming to do so many things, a devotee is completely aloof because he's not interested in cow eating, cow flesh eating. So if as he stay aloof, watching them and laughing at their activities, some of them will come and meet him. People will say, take your portion. Anyone they give you, take it, so that you give it to me. They'll kill a cow or a goat and they're butchering it. They are so ecstatic about getting so much for themselves that they will come and meet the devotee who is not even interested. They say, why don't you take your own part now? Take it and give it to me. I know you don't eat meat. But when they bring it, you take it and you give it to me. The devotee is not interested. Say, hey, please don't label me with, I don't want to identify with all those rubbish activity of killing and eating animals. Even to just said of killing cow, which is Krishna's pet, then I will come and rub myself with taking some part and giving it to you. Leave me out of this, please. I beg. I wouldn't have come here, but because of my relationship with the person who has left the body or who is marrying, I have come, but not to participate in this rubbish activity. I've come to say goodwill to my friend. So just like that, because of competition, people envy themselves. But the devotee is completely aloof from that. So he appears to be friendly to everyone. Everybody is friendly to him. No competition. It's competition that brings enmity and friendship. So the devotee is beyond that. So that is a yoga yukta. And for that, because his intelligence is purified, his mind is purified, his senses are purified, he's a tattvavit. He knows his identity, his relationship with the Lord, and is functioning on that platform. His activities, he acts in detachment. He's doing everything that everyone else is doing, but he's not attached to the results. For that, he attracts no sinful reaction. It's like a lotus flower that is in the water, but is not touched by the water. Like the Christians would say, be in the world, but not of the world. The devotee is in the world, but is not of the world. You see? So therefore, he acts in detachment, and therefore his actions do not attract sinful reactions. He's doing everything but just for the pleasure of God. Whereas the yukta, one who is not a devotee, who is a sakama, kama yukyo, a vikami, is actively involved in doing things and is attached to the results. So attachment brings bondage, while work in detachment brings liberation of freedom. So that is the summary where we ended. Now, this session dealing with the Vaishnava theology is going to explain who is the doer, who is the cause of activities, because we have earlier heard that Prakriti Kriyamanani Gunai Karmani Sabasa Ahankara Bimudatma Kataha Mitimayati. The bewildered spirit soul thinks himself to be doers of activities, which are in actuality carried out by material nature. So we want to see how much the individual living entity is a doer. Because the individual living entity cannot become free, cannot free himself. That is not doer. It's a doer, but to some extent. Material nature is a doer, but to some essence. And the Lord in the heart is a doer, but to some extent. So how much, are we involved in these doing things and not doing things? We want to know who is the actual doer. And this is this session. The interaction and interrelationship between the Jiva, Prakriti, and Iswara. And this is a philosophical approach. It's a very small, but it's very deeply philosophical. Only 3 verses, 13, 14, and 15, but very deeply philosophical. So let us go into it now. Verse 13. Yes, verse 13. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukambasi navadware pure dehi naiva kurvana karayan. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. Somebody should read the purport.
Verse 13, purport. The embodied soul lives in the city of 9 gates. The activities of the body, or the figurative city of the body, are conducted automatically by 8 particular modes of nature. The soul, although subjecting himself to the conditions of the body, can be beyond those conditions if he so desires. Owing only to forgetfulness of his superior nature, he identifies with the material body and therefore suffers. By Krishna consciousness, he can revive his reposition and thus come out of his embodiment. Therefore, when one takes to Krishna consciousness, one at once becomes completely aloof from bodily activities. In such a controlled life, in which his deliberations are changed, he lives happily within the city of 9 gates. The 9 gates are mentioned as follows. Navajwari puridihi hamso lilayakti bahiha vasisa vaxia lokaxia stavaraxia charaxia cha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is living within the body of a living entity, is the controller of all living entities all over the universe. The body consists of 9 gates, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, the anus, and the genitals. The living entity in his conditioned stage identifies himself with the body, but when he identifies himself with the Lord within himself, he becomes just a free as the Lord. Even while in the body, Shivta Vakstara Shivta Shwaktara in Upanishad chapter 3, verse 18. Therefore, a Krishna conscious person is free from both the outer and inner activities of the material body. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we can see here that no sane person living in a city will think that is the city. I mean, anyone who is not mad will not think himself to be a city because he's living in that city. This body is a city, and the living entity is living in the city of the body. So if the living entity begins to think himself to be the body, it's like a person seeing himself to be a city. You are not the city, you are living in the city. That is your identity. So this verse is referring to such a tattwavit. It's referring to one who is a self-realized soul, a yoga yukta, one who has become pure and who now sees himself aloof from the body, even though he's in the body. We talked about these characteristics in our previous lecture, and we even made mention of, or gave the example of a periscope. A sailor in the ship is using the periscope, simple periscope, a physical device, whereby he's inside the ship. A mirror is facing him at 45, angle 45, and up there, a mirror is facing the front in the same angle. And there is a link between the mirror outside and the mirror inside. So just by looking inside the mirror, inside, the reflection of all the place outside that the mirror outside is capturing is within the vision of the captain who is inside the ship. So just by looking at it, he's able to control, all the directions where to pass. It's inside. So a devotee who has become a pure devotee, self-realized soul, is living inside the body, but is seen everywhere through the eyes. The eyes are like the mirror. And he knows that it's not the eyes, but he's using the eyes as windows to see. And is inside the body. Is aloof from the body. And we gave the example of a coconut, dry coconut that is now detached from the shell. So such a person lives happily within the city of 9 gates, neither working nor causing work to be done. Because it's aloof from the shell of the coconut, is aloof from the body, is self-realized. So he only engages the body, for specific purposes. He is not a slave to the senses in the body. He is self-realized. And he's such an advanced yogi that while other yogis demonize the body and they try to neglect the body, try to control the senses and keep them inactive. Such a devotee who is a yoga yukta, he has mastered the science of using the senses. He controls the mind, he uses the controlled mind, he controls the senses, he uses the controlled senses. As opposed to the one who try to control the senses down. They don't use the senses. They leave the senses, very afraid of them. Yoga Yukta, who is Visuddhatma, Vijitatma, and Jitendriya, he engages the senses in positive devotional activities. That's where you see a yogi dancing, a dancing yogi, as opposed to the one sitting down in one place, controlling, remaining still. This is a dancing yogi. The Vaishnava yogi or Bhakti yogi is an eating yogi. He eats prasadam, whereas other yogis don't eat prasad. The other yogis do not eat prasad. They try to fast and control in their attempt to control the senses. They don't eat. They don't sing in the attempt to control the senses. But we are singing. We are singing, we are dancing, we are eating, we are philosophizing, we are moving among people. This is the dynamism, mature, supremely mature state of a Bhakti yogi. So this yoga yukta is completely aloof from the senses. Even though it's engaging the senses and using the senses, it does not attract sinful reaction. Why? Because he's not acting with attachment to the result. Rather, he's acting with detachment and he's acting for the pleasure of the Lord. So when actions are done for the pleasure of the Lord, and as a matter of showing example for others to follow, such a person is acting, but it does not attract sinful reaction. And this is the beauty, the supremely beautiful position of activities in Krishna consciousness. So devotees are modern yogis. That's where we are expected to arrive. So this particular verse is addressing this yogi who is a Bhakti yogi, who is a yoga yukta, who has mastered the art and science of engaging the mind and senses in the service of the master of the senses. Risikena, Risikesa, Sevanam Bhakti Uchati. This is the type of yogi we are talking about. So this verse is Navadware Puredei. Navadware. This yogi is living within the city of 9 gates. The body is called Deha, then is called Dehi. The yogi, the devotee, self-realized soul living in what's called Dehi. The Dehi is living within the Deha. But is not allured by the senses of the Deha. Rather, he engages the senses of the Deha in the service of the Supreme Yogi. So such a yogi, even though acting within the city of 9 gates, is not entangled by his action. Even though eating is not entangled. Even though singing and dancing and sleeping and closing and waking, opening his eyes is not entangled by, it does not act, is considered free from action and reaction. It's eating, but it does not eat at all. It does not eat material things, it only eats prasad. So this is a beautiful nature. So who is the doer? What does he do when he's acting in Krishna consciousness? Is it the doer? No, because it doesn't attract any sinful reaction in the course of acting within the body. So this is it. The Abba will say once again, I live in the city, but I am not the city. Okay? Therefore, so say a sannyasi, a Vaishnava yogi, does not identify himself with the city or the material body. Neither does he think of himself as doing nothing, because he's active. He's not inactive. He's active in Krishna consciousness. He endeavors, but he knows that success ultimately depends on the powers beyond. He does activities, but he's not attached to the result of the activities. So whether there is success or failure, provided he has done his part, what he's supposed to do, he's completely aloof. Because he's not acting for Sangha. And even though he engages people in services, he's said to have not engaging people. Why? Because he's not engaging people in his own personal service. He's engaging people in the service of the Lord. See? He does offer the result of his activities to the Supreme. What result does he achieve in such consciousness? That is the next verse. What activities does he achieve? What result does he achieve by acting in such a transcendental consciousness? That is the next verse. Verse 14. Na katritvam na karmani lokasya srijati prabhu na karma vala samyogam swabhavastu pravartate. The embodied spirit, master of the city of this body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruit of actions. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. Don't happen. It's acting, but it's not attached to any fruit. So, purport, please.
Test 14, purport. The living entity, as well be explained in the 7th chapter, is one of the energies or natures of the Supreme Lord, but is distinct from matter, which is another nature called inferior of the Lord. Somehow, the superior nature, the living entity, has been in contact with material nature since time immemorial. The temporary body or material dwelling place which he obtains is the cause of varieties of activities and their resultant reactions. Living in such a conditional atmosphere, one suffers the result of the activities of the body by identifying himself in ignorance with the body. It is ignorance acquired from time immemorial that is the cause of bodily suffering and distress. As long as the living entity becomes aloof from the activities of the body, he becomes free from the reactions as well. As long as he is in the city of the body, he appears to be the master of it. But actually, he is neither its proprietor nor controller of its actions and reactions. He is simply in the midst of the material ocean, struggling for existence. The waves of the ocean are tossing him, and he has no control over them. His best solution is to get out of the water by transcendental Krishna consciousness. That alone will save him from all turmoil. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So that is it.
Prabhu Chaitanya Prema, Hare Krishna. Please, I would like to ask permission from you. We are going for Food for Life. So I would like to ask permission from you, with all due respect.
But do you know what? Prabhu, do you know what?
No, please.
You people should know that this program is existing. So when you are fixing time for Food for Life, you fix it in the time that will not clash with the classes.
Okay.
Already we
It's
are
cool.
complaining another JIT is not there, and many devotees are not there in these classes. If
It's
this
true.
is the attitude, I'm going to stop this Bhakti Sastri program. I'm telling you. Because I cannot go and sacrifice and beg people to come and teach, and you people come and put up this kind of attitude. Huh? Why?
Prabhu, you are right. You are right. You are right.
Beg. The teachers are busy. They are busy with all kinds of schedules. And I appeal to them for them to sacrifice their schedule to come, and they come and experience this attitude. So if this is what you are like, that means you are not ready. You wait until when you become fully free, then you can take up this program. Otherwise, what is the use? Today you come, tomorrow you don't come, next tomorrow you come, the other day you don't come. You don't know that this program has been there before. Then when you are fixing Food for Life, why don't you fix the Food for Life the time that it doesn't clash with this? What is the meaning of this?
Hold you and see you freeze.
So this is very demoralizing, and I will not bring any serious person for you to come and demoralize.
Prabhu, we are sorry. We are sorry.
His Holiness Kabishara Maharaj is coming here. This is the attitude. Last time he was complaining seriously. This same attitude. His Holiness Bhakti Sastri Maharaj will be coming. The Bhakti Chaudhary Maharaj will be coming. Other serious teachers are coming. Then you put up this attitude. You are more busy than the teachers. Then you better go to Mayapur, pay transport, pay ticket, and go and stay there to do this program. Then you will know the value of it. So this is very demoralizing. You are just constantly attacking my focus. By this attitude, you are constantly attacking my focus and trying to make my service very, very difficult. We are more than 10, but how many are here?
Prabhu, you are right. You are right. And I'm sorry too.
Then out of these people, you are all struggling to go away. Since morning, you have another has not been there since. It's just coming now. And you are going to show if 2 of you leave, so only 3 students will remain. Then if another one say, okay, I want to go somewhere, then that person goes also. What is all this? You are not learning this thing for my sake. It's a compulsory thing you need to learn in order to go to the next stage.
Prabhu, I've joined. Oh.
In fact, I would like to even stop today's class by this. Because I was already disturbed and trying to comport myself. Then you are agitating me on top of this in the midst of the class. I have the right to talk like this because I'm not just a teacher. I'm the coordinator of this program. This is going to YouTube now. Let them hear me talk. And they will tell you that I'm right. You don't behave like this. You don't attack your teachers. You don't attack your facilitators and coordinators. Otherwise, it becomes like open witchcraft. What is this? Already, none of you faces there. You off your videos. Is it what is done? If you're in a classroom, will you close your face? Will you cover your face with something? You all cover your face with something when you are in a physical classroom. You are in online class where the monitoring is very, very difficult. Yet you choose to off your videos, and at the same time you are just provoking. I mean, you are doing so many things. Your concentration is 0, or maybe 2%. So if this is the attitude, let us stop this program so that anybody who has classmates will go to my airport to go and learn this. Go and do Bhakti Sastri.
Tribal, I'm really sorry for any inconveniences. Please, kindly forgive me.
What is the meaning of this, man? What is the meaning of this? If you agitate me like this, how do you expect me to focus? This is something intellectual, something philosophical that needs serious, sober attention to navigate. Then you keep on agitating the person who is teaching you. I'm telling you, whatever I'm doing now is transcendentally absorbed because I am the coordinator of this program. I'm talking as a coordinator right now, not just as a teacher. So we can stop the class for today so that everybody can go and do whatever he likes.
Tribal, please, let's proceed. Let's proceed. Please, let's proceed.
No, I can't proceed because I'm disturbed.
Oh, please don't be disturbed. I'm really sorry. Let's proceed. I'm here with you. Please, let's proceed.
No.
Man,
Let's close the class for today next time so that we can take this matter serious. If anybody is to absent himself, is the teacher, is the lecturer who is supposed to absent himself? Students are absenting themselves anyhow from the program. So you are more busy than me. By the time you gather tickets to go to my airport to go and learn, and if you are not going to go to my airport and you go for this program in Vrindavan Institute for Higher Education online, is this how you are going to behave?
I'm really sorry. Please sorry. We are about to. Sometimes we will send the forgiveness.
People are ready to teach. They are reluctant. They are already complaining seriously. Madhusudan Vishnu Prabhu, are you seeing him teaching here right now? Is this attitude? Today, devotees will come. Tomorrow, they will not come. He started complaining. Eventually, he decided not to because he said that we are not serious.
Raul, please hold your feet.
No. The point is that already, because this is something philosophical, you don't see the depth of this aspect of the Bhagavad Gita. Where you are bringing Iswara, Jiva, and Prakriti and their level of control or doership. You think it's a small subject matter. This is the theology. No. And you people are agitating, distracting, we are bewitching your own self. So let us stop the class for today. Tomorrow we'll continue.
Oh, wow. Hare Krishna. The mood is already affected.
Already we came 20 minutes into the time. Only 2 people were there. 20 minutes into the time. You come very late and you are eager to leave now. And who is idle that is going to be here? So until when you people are ready, if tomorrow I see that this is the same attitude, I'm telling you, I'm going to cancel this whole program. Because I cannot afford to go and struggle to bring teachers who are senior to us, gurus, for you to come and disgrace like this. Because Kapishana complained bitterly. Towards the end of the class, he said, where are the students? Where are the students? I was so embarrassed. Well, somebody remember where we stopped?
We give grace. We give
Please, we
grace.
stop at test 14.
We're in test 14.
Yeah, test
What was
14.
I saying?
I'm done with the purport.
The embodiment.
So read the purport again.
Chapter 5, verse 14. Purport. The living entity, as will be explained in the 7th chapter, is one of the energies or natures of the Supreme Lord, but is distinct from matter, which is another nature called inferior of the Lord. Somehow, the superior nature, the living entity, has been in contact with the material nature since time immemorial. The temporary body or material dwelling place which he obtains is the cause of varieties of activities and their resultant reactions. Living in such a conditioned atmosphere, one suffers the result of the activities of the body by identifying himself in ignorance with the body. It is ignorance acquired from time immemorial that is the cause of bodily suffering and distress. As long as the living entity becomes aloof from the activities of the body, he becomes free from the reactions as well. As long as he is in the city of the body, he appears to be the master of it. But actually, he is neither its proprietor nor controller of its actions and reactions. He is simply in the midst of the material ocean, struggling for existence. The waves of the ocean are tossing him, and he has no control over them. His best solution is to get out of the water by transcendental Krishna consciousness. That alone will save him from all turmoil. Hare Krishna.
So from this reading now, what do you understand the position of the living entity to be? What is the position of the living entity?
You are conditioned. We need
What
somebody
is
to
the
help us
position?
out. Unless we get out of the
Raghupati Prabhu, what is the position of the living entity?
Hare Krishna.
So this shows that the living entity is entangled within this material.
Louder, please.
The living entity is conditioned. It is entangled within this material ocean.
Why am I not hearing your voice? Your voice is low. Your voice is still low.
Bro, please, the living entity is conditioned. He's a conditioned soul, and he's also entangled within this material ocean, which is tossing him around, and he doesn't have any balance in it, unless by the help of Krishna consciousness, he can get rid of it.
But the living entity is eternal. It's an eternal
Yes,
living
bro.
entity. How is he under the control of material nature, which is inferior? He is a superior nature.
Probably because he has accepted this material body.
He has accepted the dwelling place as himself, or what? As what?
Yes, as
You
his
have
own.
accepted the temporary place.
So, Rishodhan Yatra Prabhu, can you add to this? Add something to this. The living entity
Now,
is eternal. It's eternal, but it's now.
But wrongly identifying himself as the body is encaged in the body. So it's only by Krishna consciousness he can get out of the ignorance of identifying himself with the body.
Okay. So there are three types of doers here. One is the independent, supremely independent doer, who is also called Swatantra Karta. Karta means doer. Swatantra Karta. That is the super soul. The Lord in the heart is an independent doer. Then we also have Prayoja Karta. Prayoja Karta is one who works under somebody else's control. And that is the individual living entity. I want to get these three separate here. There is the Supreme Lord, there is the individual living entity who is working under somebody else's control. Even though it's eternal by nature, is under the control of somebody. Who is that somebody or something that is controlling him? That is material nature. Material nature is called Prayojahi. Prayojahi Kata. That means he who influences others to act. So we have the individual soul who is being influenced by material nature. Then we have the supreme soul who is Krishna. They are all doers to some category. One is an independent doer who is there to fulfill the desires of the individual living entity who is acting under material nature. Material nature is very subtle because it's in charge of the mind, intelligence, and ego. It's very powerful. And the individual soul is also within the body, is having mind, intelligence, and ego. So material nature is influencing the living entity. When somebody yawns, you don't want to yawn, but sometimes you yawn without being controlled. What is the cause?
Come again. Come again.
Material nature is the cause. There's just practical example. You don't want to sleep. You are in the class. Class is going on and you see yourself dozing. Your desire is to keep the light open, but you see yourself dozing. What is the cause?
You can't cheat nature. That is material nature.
Material nature.
Yes.
Material nature.
Exactly.
You see a beautiful young girl pass, and you see her because you cannot close your eyes, and she pass. Okay, you have seen her for the first time, and you don't want to. You are not supposed to look at her again, but somehow or the other, you manage to look at her again. What is the cause? Balabada, you know the cause. It's material nature. It's nature. So that's
desire.
So it's material nature plus your desire. You see, the desire is there, but it's being controlled by material nature due to your nature. Your nature is not pure in that condition. Your mind is not pure, so material nature will just influence you to look again. And sometimes you are even with your guru, standing with your own guru. You are standing with your guru. This girl passed, and your mind says, if you look at her, your guru is looking at you. You will follow your eyes and see what you are looking. Yet you are allowed to walk for some distance, then you still look, you sneak to look. But this is material.
You go look with knowledge. You go just swap some things.
Your desire plus material nature working together. So we have to be careful what we desire, because being the cause is starting from our desires. When you desire something and your desire is being fulfilled, you are the original cause. That is why you take responsibility for whatever comes, because Krishna has already given you independence. You choose your independence in that way, to look at somebody that is already passed. What do you want to see?
You have the apps in
What
you.
do So be very, very careful. We act against our higher nature. Sometimes we're supposed to eat something very little in the evening, but we see ourselves eating so much in the end. Why? Material nature. I want to watch TikTok for maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes just to see my profile and see those who are following. Then I end up watching TikTok for like 2-3 hours. We are supposed to sleep by 9 o'clock. I see myself sleeping by 11 something.
Yes. Material nature push sugar.
So you desire that material nature add all the ingredients to keep you there for a long time.
You go finish this by force.
Look at the interpret, is very strict. But you look at waiting his time. He will go and sleep late, and when it's time to wake, he will also wake late. Then he begin to blame something else. Whereas he has a desire to do TikTok for throughout the day, throughout the night. So we have to be very careful. Okay? The material nature is there. We, the individual soul, have a particular desire. And material nature is going to supply the desire by the permission of the soul. So you are a cause. Material nature is a cause. And the Supreme Lord is also a cause. But you are directly accountable for your own actions, because the whole thing started from you. By the time we finish the next verse, we are going to see this thing clearly. The role you play, the role material nature plays, and the role that the super soul plays. Therefore, you know how to judge whether to say material nature is the cause, or you are the cause, or the Krishna is the cause of your situation. So this is it. We need to be very, very careful. Okay? It is material nature on the platform of desire that is tossing us here and there in the material world, making us to take birth here, take birth in another place in a particular mood. Just as a straw is being tossed here and there in the ocean. So let us be very, very cautious of our desires. Let's learn how to control our desire. Controlling means start from controlling our desires. But once we desire, the energy is already set in motion. So energy will fulfill it. You see the laws of nature, the three modes of material nature as three ladies, and their subtle ropes that are binding all the living entities. That's how we are being controlled. So unless we control our desires, we cannot become free from the influence of material nature. Verse 15. We would have gone deeper, but you've already caused some agitation. So that is reducing the potency of the class. Nadate kayashit papam na chaivam sukritam vibu agyana navritam gyanam tena muhyante jantava. Okay, so look at it. With the previous verse I'm reading, the embodied spirit, master of the city of this body, does not create activity. Nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruit of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. Okay? The eternal living entity is such that it's under the influence of material nature, that everything happening around him is being controlled. That means the subtle control the physical. The material nature is swabhava, is subtle. The mind, intelligence, and ego. That is the platform. And it's controlling the physical. Then how did material nature come to have control over the individual living entity? It is desire. So now. That means all that now is referring to the living entity. Na katritwam, that is one na. Na karmani, that is another na. Then na karma phala samyogam. Na. Never. It's not. The living entity is not the doer, it's not the doer. The material nature is the doer. But material nature is inferior to the living entity. But now the inferior nature is in charge, is controlling the activities of the living entities. Why? Because the living entity desired. It had a particular desire. Once desire is there, once the desire is not transcendental desire, material nature will take it off from that subtle level and start controlling the individual living entity. So if you want to rise above material nature, you should have a desire, that strong determination, the determination to not indulge in material activity, or determination to act for Krishna's pleasure. That is the secret. We have to have strong determination to engage ourselves in devotional service. And material nature will just smile at us. Say, this guy is intelligent. His desire is to please the Lord. So let me support him. Material nature will turn to support you when your desires and determination are strong to do the right thing. Okay? So determination is the fuel. Determination is the energy that activates action. So we have to be desirous of the right thing in the first place. When we have a strong desire to do the right thing, that will attract divine intervention and everything will be okay for us. In the end, we will not blame anybody. Instead, we will be happy that we desired wisely. So now, nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. So the eternal living entity, even though it's eternal because of its minute nature, it can be influenced by ignorance. It can be influenced by material nature because it's very minute. And once the desire is not right, material nature will take over from there and will begin to influence him. So this particular verse is a continuation from the previous verse. And now, by the time we finish reading this purport and analyzing it, we are going to see how this is happening. So somebody should read the purport, please.
Purport. The Sanskrit word Vibhu means the Supreme Lord, who is full of unlimited knowledge, riches, strength, fame, beauty, and renunciation. He is always satisfied in himself, undisturbed by sinful or pious activities. He does not create a particular situation for any living entity, but the living entity, bewildered by ignorance, desires to be put into certain conditions of life, and thereby his chain of action and reaction begins. A living entity is by superior nature, full of knowledge. Nevertheless, he is prone to be influenced by ignorance due to his limited power. The Lord is omnipotent, but the living entity is not. The Lord is Vibhu or omniscient, but the living entity is Anu or atomic. Because he is a living soul, he has the capacity to desire by his free will such desire is fulfilled only by the omnipotent Lord. And so, when the living entity is bewildered in his desires, the Lord allows him to fulfill those desires. But the Lord is never responsible for the actions and reactions of the particular situation which may be desired. Being in a bewildered condition, therefore, the embodied soul identifies himself with the circumstantial material body and becomes subjected to the temporary misery and happiness of life. The Lord is the constant companion of the living entity as Paramatma, or the Supersoul, and therefore he can understand the desires of the living or the individual soul. As one can smell the flavor of a flower by being near it, desire is a subtle form of conditioning for the living entity. The Lord fulfills his desires as he deserves. Man proposes and God disposes. Man proposes and God disposes. The individual is not therefore omnipotent in fulfilling his desires. The Lord, however, can fulfill all desires. And the Lord, being neutral to everyone, does not interfere with the desires of the minute independent living entities. However, when one desires Krishna, the Lord takes special care and encourages one to desire in such a way that one can attain to him and be eternally happy. The Vedic hymns therefore declare, Esau hi eva sadhu kama karyati tam yam ebo lokebia yinini sake. Esau abasadu kama karyati yam ado ni sake. The Lord engages the individual entity, living entity, in pious activities so that he may be elevated. The Lord engages him in impious activities so that he may go to hell. Kausikaki Upanishad 3:8. Adno jantu anisoyam atmana sukha dukha yoga. Ishwara perito kachet swagam basu abram evacha. The living entity is completely dependent in his distress and happiness. By the will of the Supreme, he can go to heaven or hell, as a cloud is driven by the air. Therefore, the embodied soul, by his immemorial desire to avoid Krishna consciousness, causes his own bewilderment. Consequently, although he is constitutionally eternal, blissful, and cognizant due to the littleness of his existence, he forgets his constitutional position of the service of the Lord and is thus entrapped by innocence, ignorance. And under the spell of ignorance, the living entity claims that the Lord is responsible for his conditional existence. The Vedanta Sutra 2134 also confirms this. By Samya Niganiye na Sapiksatwa Tatahi Dasayati. The Lord neither hates nor likes anyone, though he appears to. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is a very serious situation. Here is a situation explaining how the living entity in the tight grip of material nature is the doer, can be compared to the attempts of a small boy to lift a weight. A small boy went to the gym with his father, and he saw his father lift a very heavy weight. Very heavy weight. Then the small boy also desired to lift the weight, lift heavy weight. So he went to another side of the gym and he started attempting to lift this heavy weight. There is no way he could lift the weight. Oh. is trying to lift it. Then the father, unseen by the little boy, went behind. He went behind and lifted the weight as if it's the boy that is lifting it. He went behind the boy. The boy did not see him. Then he lifted the weight, lift it up like he said, hey, the boy had lifted it. So in this way, the father has actually lifted the weight, but he cannot be considered the only lifter. Because unless the desire of the boy was expressed, the father wouldn't have gone to lift the weight for him. So the boy desired to lift the weight, and the father went there to support him to lift the weight. So the question is, who is the actual lifter of this weight? Who actually lifted the weight? The father, or the hands of the father, or the boy? Who actually lifted the weights?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
I can say is the boy. It's the boy that lifted the weight, because without the boy having that thought, the father wouldn't have lifted the weight.
Desire is the boy desires.
Okay, the boy lifted the weight, because unless the boy desired, the father wouldn't have gone to lift the weight.
Yes,
Do you agree with that, Anantajit?
No, I don't agree. The father is the one who lifted it.
It's the father that lifted the weight.
The father. The actual lifter is the father.
The father is the actual lifter. Raghupati Prabhu, who lifted the weight?
Actual.
Because I think it is the child.
Louder.
I think.
Raghupati Prabhu, we are not hearing you.
Prabhu, please, it is the child, because when the child calls his father, the father will make sure that at least he helps him small, but he is the one who has to carry the weight because it is his desire.
But his hands were not the hands that lifted the weight now.
Actual. The actual. That's what should be considered.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, his hand was not the hand that lifted the weight, actually. It was his father who helped him. But if you want to, like most of the movies and the things, like in the company where I work, we are the ones who do the job. After doing it, the credit is given to our managers. You understand? So it doesn't mean that you must be the one who is doing it to be known as the owner, as the person that did it. So I believe it's the guy. Because if he doesn't have the desire to live that way, his father wouldn't have come there, that particular gym, and lived in it.
That is good also. Dr. Ato, who lifted the weight?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. I think it's the boy that lifted the weight, because since the father is not responsible for the boy's desire, through the boy's desire, the boy lifted the weight. So because if any responsibility reaction will come, it will be on the boy.
So who is the cause of the suffering and happiness of the living entity in this material world? Following this weightlifting analogy.
The living
Hare
entity
Krishna, Prabhu.
is the cause.
Hare Krishna.
The boy, according to the analogy, the boy lifted the weight with his desire. The father only fulfilled the boy's desire. And the second question is, the individual living entity causes our suffering and problems. So according to the passage of purport, this purport, chapter 16 purport here, it says Krishna only fulfills the desires of the living entity. He is not the cause. So we desire, and based on our desire, we cause by Krishna fulfill it for this to happen. That is it. So based on this purport and this chapter text, the boy lifted the weight by his desire. The father fulfilled his desire by helping or supporting him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Does anyone has a different opinion from this? Prana Priya Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Who lifted the weights? And why do you say so?
The boy is the one who lifted the weights because he is the one having the desire, and the father is just fulfilling that desire. It's like a child asking for something and is constantly asking for that thing, like constantly. So the father will just fulfill, okay, fine, since you are asking for this thing and you want it, let me just fulfill it for you. So for me, the boy is the one who lifted the weights and the father just fulfilled the desire for him. And that is the same thing with Lord Krishna with us. All the time we desire, we need this, we need that, we need that. We keep on disturbing, we keep on praying, we keep on pushing. And Lord Krishna will just be like, okay, if this is what you want, then take. Then he give us that desire. Even if sometimes it's become problem for us, or sometimes it's okay for us. So I feel the boy is the one who carried the weight, then the father just fulfilled the desire. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. But the living entities are now thinking that God is the one that is causing the suffer. What kind of God is this that is unjust? You just allow his children to suffer like this in this material world. He knows that material world is very dangerous. Why did he even give us independence? If you know that we are going to misuse the independence, why did he actually give us this independence? So people are blaming God for their situations. That's why we want to know who is the actual cause. Is it the independent Supreme Lord, or is the material nature, or the living entity? So at last, we need to find somewhere to locate as to who is the actual cause, whether somebody is the primary cause, whether someone is a secondary cause. Okay. So thank you very much for all your inputs. This is Vaishnava etiology, the science of causation, because for the scientists do not know about they don't include the Supreme Lord. They want to locate the cause of everything as material nature. And sometimes the individual living entity, they don't consider the Supreme Lord. The scientists, their limitation is within material nature. Material nature is the cause. And we are saying that material nature is not a person. And material nature by nature we can say ultimately we know that it's a person, but generally from the scientific point of view, material nature is not a person. It's the energies put together.
Balabhadra Prabhu, please. Unmute your mic, please. Balabhadra Prabhu.
But yes, Balabhadra Prabhu, you can mute because some noise is coming from your end. It's not muting, no. So material nature is actually okay. Balabhadra Prabhu is still there. It's still there, but Balabhadra Prabhu, you can mute so that the noise will not come from your end again. He has muted. That is very good. That is very good. So we say that the living entity it should not, like the child, become bewildered by false ego and pride and consider himself the doer of activities. And in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says, it is the bewildered spirit soul that thinks himself to be doers of activities, which are in actuality carried out by material nature. So the child should not think out of bewilderment, out of pride and false ego, think that he is the doer of activity, because in all cases, he actually has no independent ability to act. He has no independent ability to act. But that does not mean, however, that the living entity can, avoid the responsibility of having performed the activity, because it was he who expressed the desire. Yes, he who made the attempt, and he who then tries to enjoy the fruit. So, just as many of you said, the boy is actually the cause. Because otherwise, why is he the one to take the responsibility? You see? But he should not think that he can actually do it by himself. That because he desired to do it. He desired to do it, then the higher forces, they helped him. They helped him because they are respecting his independence. That minute independence granted to him, they are respecting it. That's why they allowed him they helped him to do it. So he should not think that it's by his ability. It's not by his ability, but by his desire. The higher forces intervened and they did it. Just like the sparrow, he had a strong desire to dry up the ocean because the ocean took his egg, and he made attempts, and that is determined attempts attracted divine intervention. Garuda came and tried to dry up the ocean, and immediately the ocean released the egg. So apparently it appears that it's the sparrow that has recovered his egg. It is the sparrow that did it, but in actuality, it is Garuda that did it. But because he desired strongly, and therefore the higher forces intervened. So similarly, the Krishna is in the heart as Upadrasta Anumantasha. Is in the heart as the witness and the fulfiller of our desires. And he fulfills these desires through the hands of material nature. Material nature is working under Krishna's direction. Maya Dyakshana Prakriti, Suyate Chacharacharam. Material nature, big as it is, a yantra, is working, is being operated by the Supreme Lord. It's not independent. So the living entity should not think at any time. Once you think that it is the doer of activity, he is considered bewildered. But it is his desires that are being fulfilled. And that's why he has to take the responsibility of doing that act. So as soon as we control our desires and start desiring to please the Supreme Lord and begin to act in that direction, then our attractions, our activities become transcendental. And the reward for that is transcendence, because to work for the Lord, for the pleasure of the Lord, is the ultimate goal of life. And it is actually the constitutional position of the living entity. So when we desire to please the Lord and we walk in that direction, we are desiring rightly. And right desires and right actions do not attract sinful reactions. Why? Because at that point, we have become Yoga Yuktas. Yoga Yukta Visuddhatma, Vishitatma, Jitendriya. A Yoga Yukta is one who knows that Krishna is the cause of all causes, and therefore his intelligence is purified, therefore his mind is purified, and therefore his senses are also automatically controlled. So when the living entity is ignorant of his eternal relationship with Krishna, he chooses his position as independent enjoyer. That is due to ignorance. That's why in the previous verse, it was said that ignorance how was it said? So it is ignorance acquired from time immemorial that is the cause of bodily sufferings and distress. That as soon as the living entity becomes aloof from the activities of the body, it becomes free from the reactions as well. And that as long as he is in the city of the body, he appears to be the master of it, but actually is neither its proprietor nor controller of his actions and reactions. He is simply in the midst of the material ocean, struggling for existence. And the waves of the oceans are tossing him, and he has no control over them. His best solution is to get out of the water by transcendental Krishna consciousness. That alone will save him from all turmoil. All turmoil. So that is it. Very, very important. So let us know our position. And the child on his own cannot actually do anything. But the desire that although the living entity is not the ultimate doer, he still remains responsible for his actions and their results, as long as his actions spring from his desire to turn away from Krishna. That the supersoul acts as the living entity's best friend and fulfills its desires. Even though he is the supreme controller, he cannot be held accountable for the living entity's choices, for he acts only as sanctioner, upadrasta anumantacha. The supersoul, being neutral, is neither responsible for anyone's actions, nor is he liable to accept the living entity's good and bad reactions. This is knowledge. Krishna describes the result of understanding this in the next verse. So, the next verses, series of verses, verse 16 to 29, we are going to see the action, the result of acting in Krishna consciousness. And in our tomorrow class, we endeavor to finish we'll see how far we can go. We'll try to finish it. 16 to 29. The result of acting in Krishna consciousness. We are going to enumerate that tomorrow. But for now, we can stop now. We're supposed to go up to 11:30, but I think we should stop so that Isana Goranga and the rest can go ahead. And this is the end of this particular thing. Are there some questions or commentaries on these points so that we can close it?
Okay.
Are there some questions or commentaries on these points?
For my side, no question, Prabhu.
We know your desire to go for your food for life. So you have been praying that the class will end earlier. So
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I have a question, sir. Or I
Yes.
want something made clear to me.
Okay.
Can the philosophy of Ashintya Beda Beda Tattva be applied to this? That the living entity is simultaneously one and different with the Supreme?
Yeah, Prabhu, your question is actually the answer. The answer is the principle of Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. This philosophy harmonizes all polarities. So the individual living entity, in the most succinct sentence, is simultaneously responsible and not responsible for a situation. And also we can say material nature is simultaneously responsible and not responsible for the situation. And we can say the Supreme Lord is not responsible and simultaneously responsible and non-responsible. Inconceivably. You see, so that is it. This is the philosophy of Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. And that is the conclusion. The conclusion is that the Lord is simultaneously responsible and non-responsible. The individuals, the material nature is simultaneously responsible and non-responsible. And the living entity is also simultaneously responsible and not responsible. Inconceivably. But
Hare
since the
Krishna. Hare
living
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
My question is, the living entities, are they also classified as internal and marginal beings?
They are eternal by nature, but they are not because of their minute nature. They are quantitatively very minute, but they are qualitatively one with the Lord. So they are eternal, qualitatively one with the Lord, but quantitatively they are minute. They are anu. They are called anu, while the Supreme Lord is called Vibhu. So they are qualitatively one with the Lord in terms of eternality, knowledge, and bliss, but they are anu because they are being maintained. Even though they are eternal, they are being maintained by the Lord.
My second question is,
Yes.
my second question is the desires. Everybody has desires.
Yeah.
So these desires, where does it come from?
It comes from the independence granted by the Lord on the living entity.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
And responsibility
Hare Krishna Babuji. Hare Krishna.
is standing on the ground of that independence. When you misuse your independence, you take responsibility for it. When you use it properly, you take responsibility also. Yes, Prabhu. Bala. Hey, Bala Badra.
Hare Krishna Babuji. I'm battling with network here. Are you hearing me, Babuji? I'm
Okay, I'm
battling with
hearing
the network here. I can't hear
Your
you.
mic.
Okay, then you
Prabhu.
go YouTube
Oh,
and
God.
you can hear.
I'm
So
battling with
let us close the class now. So that any other
serious
question.
here. I want to ask a question.
But we are not
now.
hearing you.
I want to ask. Are you hearing me, Prabhuji? I want to ask a question.
Okay, ask now. Yeah, we are hearing you now.
The class with you. Network is.
We are not hearing you again. No.
If I can understand what you are saying now, the actual doer of the activities, can we say besides this, we are holding the steering? So can we say we are the cause, or I don't understand that area? Hey.
Bella, your voice is arrested by network demon.
Hey. Network problem. How is it now?
Okay, so your network is not good, so we put it. Hare Krishna.
If I can understand your.
Okay, on this note, we bring the class to an end.
Analogy. Can we say Fujimoto?
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for bringing the class to an end. Hare Krishna.
Babaji, let us close the class so that we attend your question next time when you are in a better place with better network reception. Thank you very much. Stone founder Chair Silai Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai.
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 You may leave if you like. Anyone who likes to leave can leave now. I'm trying to close the class. I'm not seeing where to close it. You are free to leave. Oh.
Okay,
end.
Prabhu.